Hello, my name is Pooja. Welcome to a new episode of Around the World. The United Nations General Assembly recently concluded in New York City, USA. Top leaders from all over the world participated in the summit. This is the first time since the COVID pandemic that world leaders met at the United Nations General Assembly Convention. The convention ran from 13th to 27th September 2022. In this convention, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres gave a speech that hints at many possible future tragedies. His statement expressed several layers of concerns. Actually, he gave several warnings to global leaders in his speech at the onset of the high-level meeting of the General Assembly. Expressing concern over the situation in the world, he stated that our Earth is under severe threat, but the major nations of the world are ignoring this threat. He stated that there are many issues like climate change, financial crises, starvation, war, human rights violation, and global division, which can badly affect the Earth. He reiterated in a stern tone that the international community is either not prepared to deal with these challenges or is ignoring them. Moreover, he held the Russia-Ukraine war and the ongoing geopolitical conflict in the world responsible for these challenges. According to him, due to Russia-Ukraine war and the Taiwan crisis, clouds of terrible war are hovering all over the world, which can eventually push the whole world towards nuclear war. A point worth noting is that Russian President Vladimir Putin threatened the West of carrying out nuclear attacks shortly after Guterres' statement. Pointing to the West, he said that those who try to threaten us with nuclear weapons should know that they too can become targets of nuclear attacks. In today's episode, we will try to understand how much the world is being affected by the problems that Antonio Guterres is talking about. We will also try to know about the crises the world is facing after the Russian-Ukraine war. In addition, we will also talk about the consequences of the geopolitical war. We all know that Russia attacked Ukraine on the 24th of February this year. This war is still going on even after 6 months. When this war started, the Western countries imposed various embargoes on Russia. As a result, Russia faced challenges in exporting some of its goods. The export of Russian oil, gas, food grains, and fertilizer came to a near halt. Consequently, the world has come to a situation of increasing inflation, falling growth rates, a lack of response to climate change, and increasing political instability. It can be easily said that this war affected the entire world in one way or other. Russia is among the top countries in the world in terms of production and export of crude oil. But after this war, most of the countries of the world almost stopped buying oil from Russia. As a result, oil prices increased phenomenally. Now, the whole world is facing the brunt of the increased oil prices. Russia is also the largest producer of wheat in the world, while Ukraine is the 5th largest producer of wheat. However, both these countries are not able to export wheat due to the ongoing war. The reduction in grain and fertilizer exports from Ukraine and Russia has further exacerbated the food crisis, especially in developing countries. It has also led to an increase in inflation and the cost of living in many countries. Ethiopia, South Sudan, Somalia, and several other countries in the world are already in conflict. These are the countries that are extremely rich in terms of minerals. The crops of these countries were ruined in 2020 and 2021 due to locust attacks. It has significantly affected the dairy and meat markets. A similar situation was witnessed about a decade ago when the Arab Revolution engulfed various countries of Africa and Arabia. Even then, food insecurity-like situation had arisen. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, while releasing the Food Price Index, informed that inflation is at its highest level at present compared to the inflation in 1974, 2008 and 2014. The Russia-Ukraine war has resulted in a massive ban on ready-to-eat food items intended for exports. In such a situation, the uncertainty of the market has increased even more as many countries have reduced or completely banned the export of food items. For instance, Central Asian countries have banned the export of wheat products, and Malaysia has stopped exporting chicken to Singapore. However, not all countries are suffering equally due to the Russia-Ukraine war. The developing countries are certainly more affected than the developed countries. A rich country like Japan has been the least affected. Despite a currency depreciation of about 20%, inflation in Japan remains at 2.3%. The unemployment rate is 2.6% and policy rates are zero. In addition, Japan's current account is also positive. The currencies of developing countries are witnessing continuous depreciation. Globally, more expensive energy and food, coupled with depreciating currencies, have led to a higher interest rate. Europe, which is a developed continent, has been badly affected by the Russia-Ukraine war. Europe is facing a huge increase in the prices of food and energy and a high unemployment rate. Antonio Guterres has basically hinted that if the situation continues like this, then the global fraternity will have to face the consequences. On the other hand, the geopolitical battle between the countries of the world has also put the world in peril. The geopolitical divide is threatening many parts of the world. It has resulted in the division of the world's major countries over the Russia-Ukraine war. One group is led by Russia and the other group is led by the US. These countries are engaged in serving their own interests. As a result, the Russia-Ukraine war is getting prolonged instead of coming to an end, and the whole world is facing the brunt of it. The war is not ending, as the global fraternity is not on the same page on this issue. This geopolitical battle has now reached Asia, through Europe and the Middle East. The US has increased global tensions by registering its presence in the China-Taiwan conflict. Sooner or later, India as well as Southeast Asian countries are also likely to get involved in the war. The US and China are already confronting each other in the Indo-Pacific. Obviously, the small and poor countries of the Indo-Pacific will have to bear the brunt of it. Amidst all this, it aims to be seen what course the global geopolitics will take. The question for today is, Russia-Ukraine war has brought the whole world at the brink of the food crisis and starvation. Evaluate.